Is the sound knocked off? Oh, I know how to do it. There. Sorry, guys. I forgot how to do it. I'll wait for you all to come in. So hi, if you're watching. I've got the chat up so I can clearly see you and hear you. Obviously I can't hear you, but I can see what you're writing. I'll wait for everybody to come in. Hello, Cashcraft sweetheart. How are we this evening? Hi, Didi. Hi, Paula. Hi, Pauline. Hi, guys. How are we all? Are we all had a really good week? Busy week? Long week? Cold week? I've had most of what I've just said. A very long week, and I've had it's been really, really cold here. So I've been cold, and this week has just been really long. I don't know why. It just starts. Oh gosh, been learning to sew and know all about it, sweetheart. You and your video you did on your first getting your machine. I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, look at that, you got a sewing machine. Like you could hear me squealing, but that's what I was saying. What I was saying when you were showing us your sewing machine. Right, what did Didi say? Bag of 40 cards, all done, but the inside. Oh, how organized are you, Miss Sweet Didi? Oh, how organized are you? I've done 3 card fronts. I haven't yet turned them into Christmas cards, and I think I filmed these in the week. I didn't film that one. That one was done through me and Mrs. G one day, and we were sat here crafting, so we were doing a bit of watercolor. But yeah, I've done 3 card fronts. Haven't done turned it into a card as of yet, but hey ho. I could hear it in Scotland from Wales. See, it's not that far away, is it, sweetheart? I was going, oh my gosh, she's got a sewing machine. I have got your little bits and pieces, but I'm sort of gathering them up. And then when I get a nice little collection, I'll post them off to you. I was thinking about just posting them off. Then I thought, no, what about the other little bits and pieces I'm gathering up? So you might get a little parcel in the next week and a half. Because yeah, it's all for you, sweetheart. All for you. Good evening, Rianne. How are we this evening? So, thank you, Miss Didi, on my card fronts, by the way. So tonight, I thought I've got a few things to show you. So while I'm showing you, everybody can join us. First thing is first, I bought myself a new embossing powder. I haven't got many. I think I've got one. Yeah, like I said, I haven't got many. So this will be the second one. But this one's vintage pearl, and I kind of liked it because I don't really have to use it for vintage. I haven't yet opened it yet. I can use it for Christmas. Hence why I bought it. So I got that, and then I got this, my lovely stamp that I was waiting for, the bauble stamp. This time it hasn't got a pattern in, because the one I did in a week had some sort of a pattern in. We did cover it with watercolor, but this one hasn't. So I got that. And what else did I get? I got some stencils. So we're going to practice with all 3 of these things tonight. But we're going to do a wet on wet watercolor, which I'll talk about in a sec. What wet on wet is. So I've used 2 playing about earlier. So I just wanted to see how they would come up. That's one of the stencils, and that is there. And then the numbers on the side. Oh, and they are. So all the different markings that come from the stencils. So I have that one. I have this one. I have these. And they all came with a packet. I don't know where. I'm hoping you can see through them. That one's kind of cool because it's got dragonflies in it, and I think that's like a dragonfly or a butterfly on its side. So there's that one. There's this one, a feather, but when I turn it this way, I don't know whether anyone can see the pattern changing. I can sort of see a bird, like that would be his beak, his eye, and then you've got like a pattern bird, but that way is a feather. That one, love those rose stencils. Yes. Hiya, Jan, sweetheart. Love that stamp. Hiya, Jan. These stencils, this one I'm really eager to try. This one has a little swing on the side. Let me go in frame, then you'll be able to see it. The link to those stencils I haven't put in the description box. There is a different link. I've got some news why that link's there, which I'll talk about in a second, but I will put the link to these. These came off Amazon and they were £5, something like that. And I got Prime, Amazon Prime, which means free postage. And they did come from China. I had completely forgot I'd ordered them. And they came through the door today. And I was like, oh my word. There's that one. That one's a cool one. And then this one's a tree one. So they're really, really cool. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get 9 stencils for something like £5. And what I liked as well with them, because I've only just played around with them roughly just before I come on live, was if you notice that's the stencil, you've got little hinges here. Can you see them? And those hinges, I'm taking it at a guess, is that you can put them in a folder. You can put them in a folder. So I think that's what those hinges are for, because they're all in the exact same place. All those hinges are the exact same place. So we're going to play back with these. Just paid £6 for one of Tim Holt's stencils. I've been robbed. No, Tim Holt, he's an expensive guy, Reese. He's an expensive guy. You gotta pay, see, for an expensive guy to be around you. No, these things cost, as he says. Oh, I bet what you got from Tim Holt. If you're saying it's from Tim Holt's. Why can't I get this back in the packet? Oh, never mind. Right, anyways, they do go back in the packet, but obviously I've put them in the wrong packet, as I guess. So you get 9. So I've got them, I've got the embossing powder, and I have the stamp. So, but I'm going to, Steve costs me very little. So did Chris. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Has a tendency to, yeah, exactly. Me too. To a point. You know, he does all these lovely videos, come and entice you in, and you need this, you can't live without it, it's your favorite craft item. And then when I go to buy it, it's like £20, £25. It's like, no, I can live without it. And then I go back to it and end up buying it. So yeah, he's very good at making you spend your money. So got them. So what we're going to do is play about with the watercolors first. Now, I want to talk to you about the watercolors. So my pad is Artesia. There's 30 sheets in one colored pad, and it's 30 GSM, which means it's 300 grams. 300. It basically is the thickness of paper. So what I'm going to show you today, I want to show you first on my water pad, rather than usually when I'm doing watercolors, I like to tape it down to one of these boards. Now this board is a clear board that you die cut your shapes from on a die cutting machine. I sort of kept one back from when we bought spare plates, thinking that the plates don't last very long. Little did I know. And I kept one back to just just purely to do watercolors. So I have a couple of things around me, so I'm not going to use my tape tonight. I have water. I have kitchen roll as well. I'm using my brushes. Now, I'm getting asked quite a lot about why do I use long brushes. You can get brushes that have got this thickness. Now, this one is a 9. You can get brushes that have got that much thickness of bristles. Sometimes as well, when you pay for your brushes, you tend to pay for the shape of them, pay more for the shape of them. What I mean by this is this one is an angled brush. Angled brush means just purely, as it says, it's at an angle. So if you was to pay separately for a brush, it might cost you more to pay for an angled brush or a round brush, or a round brush would be one of these, and a flat brush would be one of these because it's flat. So just have a look and see what packages you can get. I bought mine on Amazon. See which ones you can pick up where it's got all the brushes. Now, you don't have to use long handles. I quite like the length of them. I like the length of them because it gives me a bit more freedom to what I want to do. But you can buy standard brushes like these, because I've also got these ones as well that I like using. There's your standard brush. So in here, got tiny brushes, but in here we've got one of the flat brushes. We've got one of the flat brushes. See, so that's a standard brush. That would be same brush, but just different in length. That's all it is. So it's just purely because I sort of like playing with a longer brush than I do a shorter brush. Right, I'm going to put some of these brushes away. Right, so tonight I thought I would show you what a wet on wet watercolor is. So a wet on wet watercolor basically means you are using your watercolor and you're using a lot of your pigment. So it depends. This is the other thing. There's a couple of things that depends on the final piece. So one, it depends on the type of paper you've got. Now, I do believe cotton watercolor paper is the best paper to play with. This isn't cotton watercolor paper by no means. This is just premium Artesia acid-free cold press paper. Still gives you a nice detail, but it just means the way that they make it is different. Just like as if you were buying one foundation makeup from one eyeshadow makeup from one shop and one eyeshadow makeup from the other shop. You'd have the same eyeshadow, but because they're from different shops, maybe the pigment might be slightly off. It's exactly the same with watercolor. So you need your brushes, you need your clean water, your pad. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your paints. So I have a few of different watercolor paints. I have, good evening, Sue, sweetheart. How are we? I'm doing a Christmas fair tomorrow, and the unicorn is the last minute addition. Ooh. Good evening, Miss Lisa. I hope you have a successful crafting fair. I hope you do, Miss Lisa. Right, so these watercolors from Amazon, they are, I have got the package actually, or did I throw it out? I think I threw it out. This one is Essentials. These watercolors are, the company is named Essentials. Some watercolors I picked up singly from Hobbycraft. So this one is Coatsman. This one is Winsor Newton Professional watercolors. They are a little bit more expensive rather than these, but you can still get the same effect. So different watercolors have different things. These ones are Mozart, and I like these and pick them up because not only do you get all your paints, those are the colours by the way, you also get a metallic colour. So we are going to be working with one of these tonight. So you get red, bronze, gold, yellow, purple, green, blue and silver. They're all metallics. The rest of them are watercolour paints. So like I say, just depends on what watercolour paints you pick up, and the paper will depend on your piece. No two pieces with wet on wet are ever the same because of the technique that you're about to use. They're never ever the same. So what I have on my board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this. Oh, I think I might get this one. This one is Rose Matter Genuine. That's what it's called. Let's put the pigment of the watercolor down. Now, watercolors will be at their best when they are reacted with water. So wet on wet, oh my days, the projects that you can do with wet on wet, it basically means you're going to get best out of the watercolor. So you want to dab your brush into your main water, give it a really good coat of water. Now while this is coated with water, shall I tell you my happy news? My exciting news. Oh, I can't contain myself. So my exciting news is I got offered last Friday to be on the design team of BB Crafts. I'm so excited. So you will see videos of me using BB Crafts projects and making projects with them in the next few weeks. I'm really excited. I've never ever been this excited about anything, and for somebody to sort of come to me and say, would you like to be on our design team? I was so over the moon. So that is my news. The link for BB Crafts are in the description box below, but I'm going to be doing a video on this site, because not only have they got, like, on their site they've got jewelry things, findings, jump rings, wire, beads, they've got stencils, they've got dyes, they've got inks, they've just got a wide different range of things. So yeah, definitely check them out. I do have a discount code, but I forgot to write it down on one numpty. So if you spend over, now they're in America, and if you spend over, I've got my own personal discount code. I was so excited. If you spend over $40, they have got free shipping at the moment on all their projects up and down. No matter where you are in the world, they've got free free postage. What should I say? Free postage. I'm not doing well at the minute because I'm so excited. And they give you some emails about when your projects are arriving, how far along they are, sort of thing. So this discount code that I should have written down and I completely forgot. So let's write it down together. I'm so excited. Can't help it. So I've left the link in the description. I'm waiting for my products to come through the door, but this is all in capital letters. And if you spend over $40, and 40 seems quite a lot, but with postage it's not, because if you are sort of like me, I'm in UK, and sort of to buy something in the USA I tend not to do because of the postage. But BB Crafts are offering free postage no matter where you are. You can actually pick on their site to have it a bit quicker, and then that would you have to pay for. But apart from that, all free shipping. And it's amazing, absolutely amazing product. So please go along to the site. I've left the description link in the description box below. That's why the link is there. So yeah, I've been dying to tell you all week. I hope they're paying you for it. Well, Lisa, they are paying me in kindness and craft goodies, shall I say. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Miss Ryan. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, ladies. Woo. So, thank you, Paula, sweetheart. So yeah, use that code and go over to this site, and it's when you spend $40, you'll have your free shipping, and then obviously use that code. And yeah, I'm so excited. I was like, I can't wait to tell everyone. I can't wait to tell everyone. Right, so the next few weeks you'll see projects from their site and projects that I'm going to be making with things that I've ordered from their site. So yeah, I'm really excited. Really excited. Right, so clear water, back to our little playing. So clear water, drape your brush in loads of water. Now what you want to do with your watercolor is you want to get the right consistency of your paint and your water. The last thing you want to be doing is going back and forth, because what this does is gives you it gives you different drying stages. So you might end up with, where's my thing gone? You might end up with some harsh lines around the edges. So you want your right consistency on your brush. So I've only put a little bit there, but I'm going to work the paint. There we go. Right, okay. Oh, do you know what I forgot to do? Wet and wet. I've got dry and wet. Wait a minute. So the paint, what I'm about to show you now is I'm wetting the whole page. And I'm making sure that my brush, my page is covered in water. So when you see a sheen, hoping you guys can see that. When you see a sheen on your paper, you will know that's where you've put the water, basically. The focus is just gone. Come on, camera, come on, camera. There it is. There's the sheen. You can just about see it, but I'm hoping you'll be able to see it a lot better as I go. So what I am going to show you is a couple of things. So I've draped my brush, this brush, round brush, in loads of paint or pigment, and I've got right consistency of water. So if I started on the edges, so let me show you something. If I started on the edges, what will end up happening is, depending on how wet your page is, you'll have, instead of the paint coming out, you'll have the paint either going up or over. Now, so, and you'll also have sort of blotches of paint. So with the wet on wet, the last one, there's tons of water on you now. I'm just going to just literally dab it in the middle. That way then the paint is spreading out, and when it dries, naturally watercolors will dry on the outside first, and then the more in the middle you go will be the last point to dry. So that's why you find when you are doing your watercolors, you tend to have it be dry here before you even got down to here. That's because of that reason. It's because it's drying for you. Like I say, depending on the paper you've got will depend on the where your water will land. Is it going to go in one dot? And you can use your tip of your brush and just make little markings and go all the way across. That'll still spread for you. See, little markings. That'll still spread. So let me show you something else. So say we've had enough of that colour. And I'm just going to wash my brush because I want to use a different colour. And this is a much brighter pink. So you can sort of see I've really dabbed this pink brush in paint. So if you want to go up here, just bear in mind that the closer you get to your outline, because your wet on wet basically means your paint is painting for you. That's your wet on. That's what your wet on wet means. It means that your watercolor is basically painting for you, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So it will only paint. This is the other thing. It will only paint to where I've put the water. So say I put the water in a block, that's where the paint will go. It won't go any further than that block. If I've just put the water, let's say, up here. Now I know there's hardly any. Can you see how it's gathering up full of water where I've dabbed it? That's telling me that that bit of where I've painted isn't covered in water. I'm going to lower you down. Isn't covered in water, so I'm going to set that up. And I'm just going to let me try a different color. And I'm going to where did I put that green? No, it is. This is olive green. So again, I'm just using the tip of my brush. And if it's gathered up full of paint and you sort of think, oh, I just wanted a little bit of more paint, then take it up with your brush. Because that way you'll get what they call dark edges. What that basically means is you see this that I did earlier, and you can see on here and on here, it's sort of the same color. The lines are sort of faded out, but around here, the lines are a bit harsh. You can actually see the line of the paint. That you can avoid by just, so say you're like, oh, I don't really want all that paint. Take the water on the outside. Now, a common mistake is somebody will go like this. They'll take the water on the inside and they'll try and mop it up that way. But what will end up happening is you'll have exactly that. So you'll have the outline of the paint on the outside, and then the inside it'll be totally clear. So take your paint and gently, even if you are using a real soft brush to do this, take some water and go on the outside. That way then you are left with a real soft faded colour rather than quite harsh. So that is sort of the wet on wet experience. Now we sort of learned the big six. I'm going to show you a wet on wet. Wet on wet. So basically you want all your brush to be wet and your pigment, and you want a load of water as well on your brush. So taking into consideration what I said about the paint and going around the edges with the water rather than going directly in the middle, because I'm going to do exactly what I've seen most people do. Right, you take the paint from the middle and you are still left with the paint on the outside, and that will dry exactly like that. I'm going to leave that completely dry because I want you to see what the difference is with me bringing the water in the middle rather than putting the water in the middle with the paint. Because what ends up happening is, say this is my puddle of water, I've put the puddle of water in, and what the paint does is this. That's exactly what it does. So this is the water, this is the paint. I put the water on the paint, just like I've done there, and the paint goes, well, I've got nowhere to go now. I'm going to spread out. And that's exactly what happens. Now, to get a bit of faded look, what I've done here, what you do is, say this is the paint, you go, right, you go around the edge with just your water on your brush, and you can do this with a fine brush, a real small brush, and you just go around the edges in water, and gradually you will begin to soften those edges, and they won't be so harsh when it comes to doing your things. Good evening, Miss Paisley. I was yapping away. I did see you come in. My apologies for not saying hello sooner. I hope you're having a lovely evening. Right, so I'm going to show you something on this page. Before that to happen, and we're going to use blues. I'm going to use blues. And we're going to use greens to get our... Hi, Chris, sweetheart. How are we this evening? Hope you're having a lovely evening. Right, so I want some blues and I want some greens. So I've got light cobalt blue, this one's called. I have got, no I haven't, light highlights. Oh, aquamarine blue, that'll be perfect for what we want to do. There's our three blues. We've got the olive green. I'm going to use the sap green, and I'm going to use some red. So crimson red. There's our crimson red when we want him. This is our cobalt blue. So what I tend to do when I'm watercoloring, if I'm doing something specific, I'll go in the light from the dark. So for example, that would be lighter than that, because I know that is olive green. So that's going to be lighter than this. It's only little tips while you're doing it. This one is an art. This one's this one. Let me show you. Oh, I can't. I've stuck it down. This one is number 89. It's quite light on the colour, so I'm going to use that one. So I know that's light. So that's there, and then it will be them too. The lightest and the dark, because then I can start mixing them in. And even though that doesn't look light, I promise you, by the time I go to mixing it in, it will be. Hope you ladies can hear me and see me okay. Let me know if the picture goes blurry or anything like that, and then I'll try and amend it and try and do something different. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll try. Right, we want our brush to be completely smothered in water first. So while that's getting a really good coat of water, I'm going to put some water on our page. So I'm just going to do a rectangle full of water. That way then, I know that the outline of this the water isn't going to go anywhere. So this, to show you where I've got my water, if you see a sheen on your water, which is this, see it? That means you've got enough water to do your wet on wet, wet on wet watercolour. Right. So I'm going to try and get all this up. I'm using the olive green. Are you making paper roses? Are you, Ange? See? So I'm just... And the quicker the paint dries, of course, the paint won't smudge as much. But I know it's not going to go anywhere above where I've put the rectangle. Okay. I'm going to go the lightest blue now. And then I'm just going to go and go. And I'm going to go next with my blue. There, see? Now my colours are bleeding into each other, which I'm going to let happen. The next colour I'm going to do is my green. And like I say, the paint will eventually run into each other. And you can go a smaller brush. So say I'm going to go with this tiny little brush. To give it a bit more detail. Now I put too much water, but that's fine. See, that's just fine with what I'm doing. And I know it doesn't look like anything at the moment. Right, to get some clouds in, because obviously, see, this is another thing you can do. So you get some water on your brush and you literally let the water take to the water. I'll do that instead. See, and then you'll end up with these droplets of water, but as they dry, so will the droplets. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by what I say. So got my heat gun, so if anybody is blazing with a heat gun, see how the water's running to the edge? That's because I didn't take the water all the way to the nip up the edge of my paper. And this is what I mean when I say it gives you, sometimes watercolors can be really harsh because they can give you a line. Now say I didn't want that line, take some water and just gently, I put some wet on, just gently ease it out. That way you'll make your line of your paint a lot softer and it'll soften out rather than you having this big gigantic line that runs down the side of your work. My water's really muggy now. See, it's just softening out a little bit. And you can do that with any of the lines that you feel that you've got on your paper. So whatever you want to do, you can do with it. Right. I have got next to me, let me dry this a little bit more. I have got some artist pens next to me. So I want to show you what you can do with wet on wet. It's really good. By the time you've done it all, it's really, really good. Right, let me get my pens out. That's what I forgot to get out. Bear with me for a minute. Aha, got them. Right, I've got different size pens here. And what you can do is you can make trees. And you can make some more trees if you wanted to. And then what about here? You can use your paint as an outline of where to put your trees or your stones, whatever it be. And then to make your little leaves, all you do is little dashes and swirls and whatever you wanted to do. But say I wanted this one to be a stone. So you can use your colour to your advantage to make your little shapes. You don't necessarily have to draw in order for that to happen. See? And then say this is the skyline. Just say, for example, that's the skyline. You can use anything for your shape or whatever you want it to be. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Or you can doodle. By doodling, I mean like this. See? So it all depends on whatever you want to do. You can just doodle. The shape of where your paint lands actually helps you create whatever you want to create. So that's something to sort of be in mind. Now I want to use my new stamp. I made it look so easy, but I struggle. Make it look so easy, but I struggle with them. Watercolors, Angie, do you mean? Or drawing or using paints? Because I bet you could do your water on water, because that's what it's called, wet on wet technique. And you can just do, you know, you don't have to draw, you don't have to sit there and whatever you want to do. You can just doodle. You can just, for example, say this was the skyline. You could just go, that's the skyline, and I want a zigzag. That's what I'm seeing. Use where your water hasn't gone as your marker. See? So you don't necessarily have to be able to draw in order to create your shapes with your wet and wet. Now, wet and wet can have different effects. So there's your sort of your standard effect, using the paint in the center and working its way out. If you use it on the edges, like you say, what's going to end up happening is, this is dry, is you'll have those line marks. Now, if you want those line marks, by all means have them. But if you're doing something that you're doodling, or you just want to create flowers, I mean, we could have created flowers. We could have done it in different colors and created flowers. If you've got line marks, but can you see this? This hasn't, because I put the water away from the center. See? So it just depends on where you put your paint. You could do your little birds, and little birds are easy. They're just little V's in the sky. Little shaped birds are so easy. Yes, watercolors. I think I might have to go straight to doodles and cut out the paints. That's a good idea, and you could easily do that. I mean, let's just do something, right? I know I've done it in green and blue, but let me show you something. And you could do it in pinks, reds, yellows, your favorite color. You could go deeper reds, whatever you wanted to do. And you could use them in journals. Can you imagine cutting your, say I've done that now, can you imagine cutting that out and putting it at the end of a page in a journal? What's Lisa saying? I can, Rianne, before I got my brain, it's now foster cats. You do amazing with those cats, Miss Lisa. My grandma used to say things like, she's dead, but she won't lie down. No, nothing at all, Mrs. G. I've just read your comment. Nothing at all. So you can cut them out, use them on your journals. You can do all sorts with them. But use where your water stopped as your pinpoint on what you want to be able to create. Now, let's say you're a bit fearful of drawing, and you're like, Colette, you're going to make it look so easy. When I go to do that, it's never going to look nothing like that. Never say never. Right, this is what my stamp is for. So I'm going to use a different technique now. Even though I'm using sort of wet and wet, I'm going to use a different technique. So I bought this stamp. Now you can apparently buy different stamps to match. That seems a nice one. You can congratulations, rise above it, know your limitations, and then define them. That's a really good one. Happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will indulge you. Apparently you can buy more. I didn't really realize you could buy more. So I bought these. So I'm going to show you. My wet method is a brilliant way to, that is the pink one I did earlier. Where's my pens gone? Let me show you something. This one was the pink one because I wanted to show you the lines. Say I have my flower. Now, I might be good at drawing if you think I am, of doodling like that, but flowers tend to be a bit more difficult because I sort of got to think about them. I don't know why. Let me show you something. And then, right. So I've done my doodling. I mean, you could do this in front of the TV. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a craft room. The whole idea is there's no wrong or right ways of doing things. There's your way. That's the whole idea of it. So even if you, I believe everybody can draw, but say you saying that you can't draw, and you're like, oh, I can't do all that. Is she crazy? You could do this. You could just draw little flowers or draw any doodles that feels comfortable to you. See? And you could colour them in. You could ink them in. You could use a different pen, for example. I'm using black, of course, to show you all. But say, for example, oops. So there's my two. Now I want you to imagine them. There's my page in a journal. Imagine them, 3 of them, on the end of a page. And they cool. You could even put them on the end of an envelope, as a sealant on the end of an envelope. And then you could say, I've done a wet and wet method. Woohoo, I've done a wet and wet method. So anyone can do it. Whatever you think. But if you get those harsh lines and you're like, I don't really like those harsh lines, use the water, go round the edge to bring that paint in away from the edge, because your paint tends to dry in the, tends to dry on the outside before it dries in the middle. It's just basically how gravity works. That's just the way paint does. So if you can't draw, and you can do little doodle shapes, you can cut them out, you can punch them out, whatever you want to do. So there is a little idea for you. So with that in sort of roaming around, I've been wanting to do this bauble since I'm going to cut my stamp up because there's several other stamps on here and I just want the one. There's that one, and I got a little one as well. So I'm going to get this little one. Right, say you haven't got paints and you've just got pencils. I'm going to put them back in the container in a minute. Say you've just got pencils, you haven't got any paints, and you've just got pencils or you've got watercolor pens. I'm going to do mine with watercolor pens, but that's not to say you couldn't do yours with watercolor pencils. You could easily do yours with watercolor pencils. There's my pens, and we need one more thing which I forgot to get out. And that is because we're using a stamp. I don't want my stamp to run. Do you think I could find my block when I need it? The other day I found it without even looking. No. I have to use a big one then. I keep putting my stamping block down because it's clear. I can never see it. Oh. Oh. No, that's my stamp. No. Right, so I'm going to use a big one then. Right. Well, oh, some water. I love Sheehan Douglas stamps. She's a brilliant artist too. Oh, okay. I love her stamps too, Miss Lisa. I see what you're saying. I don't know where my little one is, and I don't think my little one would be big enough for this anyway. Perfect. Right, I'm going to use the little one in a second. So, first thing we want to do is I want to make a front to a Christmas card or a tag or whatnot. And with these papers, they've got like a little tear thing down the centre. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to cut it. There you go. Right, okay. So we'll do two, but I'll concentrate on the first one to begin with. I'm actually going to take my board. So I'm showing you different things tonight, not just sort of just one thing. Because I want you to be able to get what I get out of watercolors. When I use watercolors, for me, I don't know whether I've ever told you guys the story, but when I was a child, I used to get bullied a lot, mainly by the teachers more than the pupils. And with I was quite timid as a child. If I could see myself as a child now, I would never believe I was doing videos on YouTube and speaking to people. It's just I was quite timid because I got bullied a lot. Anyway, my way of expressing myself even was through drawing and painting. And I think this is why I love it so much, because it's my way of saying I'm quite content and happy. And yeah, I sort of go back to it. And yeah, I do. So I think that's why I love drawing and painting. No, just make sure that's not going to come off. Right. I've got plain pigment ink here. It's crystal white. There's nothing special to it. It's by Dovecraft, and I bought it in the range, and it was something like £1. It wasn't like anything, you know, dear or anything like that. Claps help. I painted with watercolors for the first time this week. You did, Mrs. G. We did this. Mrs. G did. I wish I could show you hers. Me and Rhian did one of these. I showed how to do trees, and we use white acrylic for the snow and trees. But Rhian, when I said to Rhian we were doing trees, she went, I can't draw trees. I can't draw trees. I was like, of course you can. So anyway, I took her through step by step, and in the end of it, Rhian had background trees, and she had foreground trees, which means trees were at the front and some trees were at the back, and they were amazing. And I wish I could show you, Mrs. G, if she lets me lend it for next week, perhaps I can show you all. It was amazing. Right, I'm gonna dub this in my Dovecraft ink. Oops. How do I know that wasn't gonna stick? Right, okay. Right, let me get my tray, because I'm going to use that vintage pearl embossing powder. Oops. Right, and I know you guys can't see it at the minute. However, oh wait a minute. Maybe I should have opened this first. Gosh. Ow. Stab myself with my clat. Ah, there we go. Oh. Is it me, or are they difficult to open? I can't remember of my first one, see? Does that do it? Might have a stamp. Chris, can you open this for me? Oh. No.
Oh, you got clammy hands.
I haven't got clammy hands. Thanks for telling everyone, by the way.
Got clammy hands, everyone. I actually don't know how.
See, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one.
Hang on. Is it from America?
I don't know. Yeah, of course. Right. There it is. Oh, I love the colour. Right, let me move this, otherwise I'm going to get it all over me. And I'm going to emboss it, and we're going to watercolour it from there. Oh, I love the colour. There's the, let me show you. Can you, I hope you guys can get to see it. Can I really use, I need I'm just getting rid of the excess doodah. I'm going to use a smaller one. There. There's my stamping block on. And then I'm going to show you how to use your watercolours with it. Oops. Oops. And this is called, I believe, vintage something. I'll have a look now. Okay. Dash it in there. I'm just going to get rid of the excess because I don't want the excess around it. Right, move this. It's called Vintage Pearl. That's what it's called. Move that. Oh, here she comes. Right. Now I've got two on that, and I don't know whether it'll be showing up. I'm hoping that the camera might catch it. Either way, I've got some watercolor brushes here. So I'm going to start building my colour up. So this is if you haven't gotten paint and you've just got watercolor pens or pencils or something of sorts. So I'm going to do a bit of pink, bit of red, and a bit of peach. Let's start off with that. And then in the watercolor pens, if you ever bought them, it comes with a clear pen. That's to put your water. It's a technique called resistance stamping. Yes, that's it. So what happens is, because you've embossed, right, I know it's difficult to show you on camera, but because I've embossed that first, it stops the water from spreading. So if you like, that's the water, and I've actually stopped it from going, it's staying in one spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat this in water with my watercolor. I'm going to coat it in water with my and I'm just going you can see how the colour is going to build up now in a minute. Hoping you can see. Stop the water from going. It's not my idea. Don't think that it is for 1 minute. It's something that I have done before, but it's not my idea. I'm just showing how you can use the stamps. I'm just going to build my colour up. And these are great. These watercolour pens, they're fantastic for doing things like this with. There's my peach. I'm just going over it slightly with the pink. So you can react your pen with water and it'll do the exact same thing as a paintbrush would and pens. And then I'm going to use this paintbrush. Actually, let me use a little fine brush to do it with. That'll do. Because there's water already on there. It's activating those colours. See? So even if you're saying, oh, I can't draw, Claire, what are you doing to me? What are you showing us? You can use your stamps to create this with. And I'm hoping the colour is strong enough for you guys to see it. Please let me know if it's not. Please. Oh, thank you, Lisa, sweetheart. Right. Same with the, I'm going to activate. I don't think I've got another pink. Oh, yeah. Got a bit of a stronger pink. So I don't want all this pink because it is going to be too much if I do it. So I'm going to use my paintbrush, dip the actual ink here, and dip the water there, giving me our clear. Right, I'm going to dry that and then come back to it. Can you see how it hasn't escaped anywhere else? So a bit of water again. And so with these, you push the actual top of the nib to get the water out. You can use a jar if you wanted to, but I just want to show you, you don't have to have paint in order to craft. And I'm going to go again, only this time I want more pigment than I do water. And if I've got too much, I just going to bring it round. And gently easing my colour into my light bit where the bauble shines. So that is the actual colour. Hi, Dawn Marie, sweetheart. So I'm going to work on that little one now. So I'm going to have, whereas I had used my water pen, I'm going to use my brush this time to do the small one. Because I've got light pink on my brush, that's what it's coming out as. I'm going to dry that. And then I have, instead of pink, I'm going to use red. And let me have a look what colours I have. Or shall I do lilac? No, let's do lilac because I got two. Right. Same with that one. So I'm going to do a bit of pigment on here. And I've got water there. So I'm going to take my water and my lilac pen. And if you find you've got too much water and pigment, go back to your water because your water is easy to take away. I'd much rather have too much loads of ink rather than not enough. So there's my first coat. Now I've got a darker one. This is a sort of like I was picking something out. I was picking out something the other day, and I think it was fabric, and I was in the fabric shop, and Chris said to me, I said, "Oh, that's blue." He went, "No, it's not. It's purple." I was like, "No, that's blue." So because I'm a bit colourblind when it comes to things like this, believe it or not, I am. I'm going to ask you guys, what would you say that colour is? Because I don't want to spoil it. That looks purple to me, but what would you say that is? Blue or purple? Light blue, Irene said. Dawn Marie said blue. Hi, Dawn Marie, sweetheart. I was busy yakking, so I apologise if I didn't say hello to you. Good evening, my love. How are we? And she says it's blue. So basically, I think you're all stating that it's blue. So let me try. Oh my gosh. See, this is why I tested it before I used it on my project. All right now. That I think is red. Jan says blue. Sue says blue. That I think that's red. I think. Wait a minute. No, that one's pink and that one's red. Which one's red? Left or right? It's because they're so alike. I'm having trouble. It does have some purple around the edge though. Thank you, Miss Lazy. I'm glad I'm not going mad. Red is right. Red is right. Thank you, ladies. So, because I am going to put on purple, I'm going to use my watercolor pens because I would have put blue on that thinking it was purple and then completely would have wrecked it. That's blue. That is brown. This is purple. Oh, I don't know. Oh my god. No, that's definitely blue. This must be purple. I think that's purple. Am I right in what I'm saying? It looks winkle blue. Hello, April, sweetheart. Thank you, my love. Thank you for helping me. Helping me with tonight. My eyes are really bad when it comes to colours being really close. I sort of like, whenever I see you watercolour, you make me want to play. I am so thrilled that I make you want to play. That's the whole idea. I'm going to go with this because I think it's purple. So I'm going to use my water brush. I'm just going to get rid of that. Forgot I had a jar of water there. Right, let me try again. So, and as I said to you before, I just want the colour going a certain way. So I want a part of this to be light where the bubble would affect it. Okay. So you can use watercolours in the exact same way as paints. There, see how I've got that shading effect? And if I want some colour dropped out, what I do tend to do, let the kitchen roll soak up the paint. And that's giving me, that's as if the light's bouncing that way in the big one, that one as if it's bouncing this way. So that's where you get your light and your dark effect from. See, and you can do it this way. You don't have to sit there and get your paints out. You can just play like this. So I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to concentrate on the top. The top's pretty easy. Right, the top of my bauble, I actually want to be different, and I don't want it to be black or brown. So for this one, I don't know why, but I fancy going orange. I'm going to make sure that I've just got my water in the space that I want it. And I do have orange actually. No, I'm not using red because I know that's not you are. So I have and I will move all this with my brush. See, move the paint on with my brush. I'm actually using pens. And then, oops. So I've got that. So as you can see, I've got the shine of the embossing because I used vintage. I don't know whether, oh yeah, you can when I tilt it to the light. I used vintage pearl embossing, so it's still keeping the colour in for me. And then on the top here, I am going to just paint in with my, make sure that I've got the right one now. Yeah, that's like a brown maroon reddy kind of colour. I think that's what I'm seeing. There you go. I'm going to do the same on this side. Then if I wanted to put a little bit of detail, I'm literally running my pencil over on this stamp particularly. I've got like little lines. I'll show you now on the actual stamp what I mean by the lines. There you go. What I mean by the lines is on the big stamp there's these, so all I was doing was just shading over those lines just to get the feel of those lines. On this one I'll use a different one. So I've got paint, I've got pens, I've got the whole 9 yards everywhere. Right, I'm going to use yeah, let's use red. See? Oops. So you don't necessarily have to have a good eye for drawing. You can use your stamps. Wait a minute, I used too much paint. There you go. Right, because I want my baubles to hold on to something, I'm just going to give this background just a total wash with water. And if you've seen the video I did in the week, I showed you if you make a mistake with your watercolors. So say I went over there, I'm going to do it on this one. You can make the bauble look as if it's swinging in the air by just making a little happy mistake. I'm going to do the same to this side. So I did use that pink. Wait a minute. Something's missing a lid. Let me just take this off. So you can see I'm just dragging that colour down. Dragging it down. And I did want to give it a little bit of a background colour. And do this just to make sure that I haven't got like white marks on my work. And it's the same with what I showed you right at the beginning. Whenever you put the water, that's only where the water will go. It won't go any further or smaller. My Christmas list is just getting longer and longer. I gave my watercolor pencils to my son. Might have to buy some more now. Oh, bless. Oh, Miss Paisley. Yes, for a Christmas present. Tell Mr. T he needs to get you some. Right, I have a sky blue. It looks stunning. Thank you. And I'm just going to shade this in. There we go. Shading in. I'm going to use the side of my brush, my pencil, as that gives you sometimes a nicer mark than if you went like this, for example. So if you went like that and then went over your, didn't have any water on it. If you went over it, you can still sometimes see where you've scribbled your line. If you dip your pencil in some water and went side onwards with it and then went over it with your brush, you will find that it goes a lot softer than a scribble. Little tip for you. Right, I'm just gonna see. Right, I've got some green I want to add, and then I've got one more thing I want to do before. So challenges. I know for three. I know for three. I'll tell you the ones I know, and then if you know for any in the meanwhile that I haven't mentioned or that you're doing, then let me know. So these are the three I know of. Tammy, who is Tambera Lilies and Crafts, she is doing a challenge, and all she's asking for is something that you like doing in your craft. To send her in. It can be anything. It could be like a craft object that you might like using, or it could be something you like making. Cash Crafts, who is our lovely lady who is in chat, she is doing a challenge where let me have a think now. She's doing a challenge to make her granddaughter a card for Christmas. Yeah, I think that's what she said. Granddaughter of a card for Christmas. So she's doing a challenge, and she does give the dates on her channel. My challenge is still open. That wasn't the one I was thinking of. My challenge is still open till the 2nd of December. I'm waiting for something to come in the post, believe it or not. And what was the other one who messaged me in the week? Oh, Lynn Shabilicious. She's having a challenge that was running till the 30th, till the end of the month. I can't never remember whether there's 31 days or 30 days in November. I can never remember. And Lynn wanted you to make an ATC card. And like I say, amazing prizes for all the challenges I've just mentioned. So if there's one I haven't mentioned, let me know. Also, Cash Crafts does a lot of giveaways. If you ever fancy just joining in into something and you don't want to send nothing because it's that time of year, she does a lot of giveaways where all you have to do is comment on her videos. Good evening, Caddy, sweetheart. I just saw you come in. Hi, my darling. I never used watercolors before. It looks lovely. Thank you, my lovely. I mentioned a card for Lynn. I mentioned Cash Crafts. I've mentioned myself, and I've mentioned Tammy. Are there any other YouTuber channels that having a challenge even on that I haven't mentioned? Those are the only sort of 4, like I say, including my own, that I know of. Have I mentioned? Have I? I don't think there's any more. Now on this stamp, we do have a little heart gem, which is this. I have got the top to that bauble, but I quite like it without. So I'm going to cut that little heart majiggy out, and I'm going to show you a little trick. Not cutting this out, but show you a little trick to do in the smaller stamps. Do you know, if you could see my table, you would not think that I have loads of room. If you could see my table right now. I do know I've lost a couple of lids. I don't know where they've gone. Oh, right. Let me just put my pencils so I know where they are. I will come across it. I know I will, because I've been using it. Because I want to use the pencils for the next section. Oops. Right. Can't find my stamping block, otherwise I'd use it. I did a beautiful card. I don't think I put it up on YouTube yet, and it was for my auntie's anniversary. She's done 50 years, and I made a beautiful anniversary card for her. I have videoed it, but I just haven't put it up on YouTube. I'll wipe any excess off. And like I said to you before, this is embossing powder, and it's called Vintage Pearl. Let me heat on that. Oh, I know what I got, just thought of. This one's quite detailed in. I'm going to use my pencils, I said. So I'm going to go for this colour. Where's my brush? There you go. And I got here. And there. Right. The last thing I want to put on, I need to protect my tabletop. 50 years, congratulations to Anne. I know, 50 years is amazing, isn't it? So I made them a card. I mean, if I ever get to 50 years, if me and Chris are still about then, if we both live long enough to see 50 years together, that would be, you know, I would want it to be as happy and as content as they both are, and I would want to have many secrets to share what 50 years entails of. So yes, I made them a lovely card, but I filmed it and I haven't put it up on YouTube yet, so you'll have to watch out for that. Right, I'm using my calligraphy pen. Now this isn't, you don't get covered in ink, sort of. You actually dip the nib in the ink. So I have crimson, which I think might be a bit too harsh, the red, but I have purple, I have violet. So I'm gonna just roll these up. Right, okay. And they are beautiful. And I'm going to use a thin brush that I don't mind getting calligraphy inks on. Where's my paints brushes gone? Oh, here they are. Oh. Let's use this one. Right, okay. And it's really nice when I get it going. There you go. I'm going to dry that, see how whether I want any more or less. And these I got from the range. And I've also got some white, because I want to put some snow on this. So I've also got some white acrylic paint. And you can use anything to put the snow on. You can use, oh sugar, you can use gesso, you can use any sort of medium you want. I'm going to put the lid on that before I tip it. You can use anything you want to create the snow with. Now I create mine with white titanium acrylic paint, only because it's thicker than, say, watercolor, and it's easier to paint with, because that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take my long brush, yep, and I'm just going to fill my brush up full of, I'm just going to put some snow there. There. And because the light's coming in this way, I reckon the bauble would have snow on this side. So you can use gesso. What you can do as well, which I was like, when I'm looking for different ways to mix things up, I was thinking about mixing gesso up with glitter to see if that would create another effect. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of snow there. so you can sort of see what effect it has on. And when it dries, you can build it up. Like I say, you can mix this with glitter and you would have a sparkly snow effect. And I'll leave this completely dry now on its own without me touching it. Just building on that snow that you would see if it did land on the bauble. There. Cool effect, isn't it? Right, so this is what we've done tonight, and we've sort of covered a lot of things. I've gone over using your stamps and using your embossing powders even, to create your, I'm trying to look for the little embossing powders to create your shape with. I've gone over the fact wet and wet technique, where you can just go from the center out. If you put it around edges, you will end up with something that looks like that. And I don't know whether you, for me, I like it when it's in the middle and it sort of splashes out. Because like I said before, when you put the water on, and what it does in the middle of the paper, it goes, and the paint goes everywhere. If you just put, so make sure your paper's wet and make sure you suck up enough water in your brush. The wet and wet technique, it's better and all round better if you had a round brush, and it's also better if you think of your paintbrush, if you had about half full of paint and then the other half full of water. So if you sort of look at it and you think, ooh, does that need any more? And you can normally tell how much water they've gone in by their bristles. If they're bristles like these I didn't use, you can feel them. You can normally feel them. So have a look. That's another thing. So I've covered that with you, and I've covered your wet and wet technique, and I've also covered, if I can find it into my mess, I was going to do my stenciling, but I've covered the edging about picking your paper up, your water up. I don't know where my landscape gone went. It's disappeared. Oh, it's in my book. I never took it out, did I? There's the landscape, and there's your doodling. So you can cut your shapes out from your wet and wet technique, and you will make, you get creative with different things. You can put them on your front of your cards. You can make different things. At the end of the day, that's watercolor to a T. You can use your embossing, your wet and technique. This is the wet and wet technique, where your paper is wet, your paintbrush is wet, completely surrounded wet. The more paint you put on your brush and water, the better your effect, and you'll never get two pieces. You'll never get two pieces the exact same as the first piece you did, because the wet and wet technique is, you've sort of got to feel how much paint you put into water, and you can tend to feel that in your brushes. If your brushes are quite light, which mine are, I can sort of feel if my brush is getting heavier, and if it's getting heavier, that means I've added lots of water. And if you're not sure, like I did with my scribbles, get a piece of paper and see how much you've got on your brush, how much paint to water you've got on the brush to be able to put it on whatever you're painting. But that is your basic to wet technique. Next week I'm going to show you a different technique, a little bit like wet to wet technique, but again, things that you can use in your journals, projects, tags, cards. So next week we'll cover a little bit on different techniques where you can do your brush and your paint. And yeah, so that's next week. That's why I said part 1. So I hope you all enjoyed the live. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you to all your lovely comments. I have been reading them, and thank you so very much. And I will be back with you on live next Friday at 9 p.m. Other than that, look out for my videos, because there's lots of exciting projects coming up. I can't wait to show you. So I'm gonna love and leave you, and I will say good night to you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I will speak to you all on Friday, if not before. Have a lovely rest of the week, wherever you are in the world, whatever you were doing, and happy crafting to everyone. Bye for now.